another and to grow together. So generally, this is also something I always begin from. It's always good that we see ourselves as a team, and that is also why I'm very impressed about what you guys are doing in the Colorado School of Mine. This is a philosophy by which I just generally apply, and is heavily within my research team. That the strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is in the team. So we can't do these things alone, and therefore, when we are in grad school, it's a time to team up. It's a time to really make sure that we are working together in synergy as we achieve the results and the things that we aspire to achieve. Because alone we can do only little, but together we can always accomplish very, very much. So that can be so in terms of research, these are the various 4 strands of things I do in my research group, and they're very cutting edge. So we design a lot of new materials for solar cells application, focusing heavily in the vast structure, looking at thin film photovoltaics, where we apply high-level computation to understand what is happening in solar cells architectures, how different materials are talking to each other, what kind of chemistries are happening at those interfaces, so that we are able to optimize those things to improve the stabilities of the solar cells as well as improve their efficiency. Another major research team within my research is in the area of catalyst design. So we work very heavily in catalysis. And a lot of the focus is mainly in the area of CO2 conversion to fuels and chemicals. We do also have a lot of research in green hydrogen production. So designing new catalysts, cheaper alternative catalysts to the expensive catalysts, so that we are able to convert all of these raw materials into useful products. But not only do we have to be thinking about energy conversion, we need to think about the energy storage. So batteries are also very heavy within my research stream. We have a couple of PhD students that are looking at lithium sulfur batteries, trying to understand those battery systems and how we can improve their longevity, as well as minimize their degradation mechanisms. And as many of you will understand, being from the continent and originally from Ghana, I got into a lot of mineral processing type of things, because Ghana equally happens to be endowed with a lot of resources. Some of those resources have become a curse as well, because it's leading to a lot of devastation. So I do a lot of research in that domain as well, trying to design new materials that can be used to clean our water systems from heavy metals and arsenic and all those mercury contaminants that go into our water bodies. But not only that, but also understanding the flotation chemistries, how we can design, these days, a lot of the research is in the area of bio-inspired, eco-friendly collector molecules that are needed for flotation of a variety of minerals. So these are the kind of a flavor of things that happens within my research group. So I'll be happy to get in touch with anybody who might be interested in any of those from a computational point of view. So that brings me to our topic where we gathered here today. So we all want to succeed, and normally I will always start by leaving some resources with us. So these are just some books that I typically will recommend to students who are studying their grad career, or they are in the career stage already. We always want to thrive in grad school. Grad school is not a place where we want to just survive. So these resources are going to be very, very good. The first one, they're saying thriving in graduate school. Second one says strategies for navigating graduate school and beyond. And the third one is saying how to, the survive is cancelled and thrive is given. So it means we don't want to survive, we want to thrive. So there's a lot of things that we need to be thinking about if we want to do all of these things and to thrive. So it becomes a common language that we all want to get access to. So I normally would say that grad school is a very critical period in everybody's development and in a career stage of our life. It's a stage of our life that is full of a lot of optimism. It's also a stage that can be full of a lot of uncertainties. They can be full of some painful experiences where things just don't go well, and therefore you are beaten down and you feel like giving up and you feel like things just aren't working for you. So it can be a period of all the emotions mixed together, and therefore how we deal with those things is very, very critical. And normally the key thing I tell people when we go to grad school, whether it's going to be you switching to the survival mode or thriving, it just depends on you. And you have to first of all know that you are not alone in that business. Every grad school student is going through similar things. So that should give you some idea that not only you is feeling inadequate, not only you is feeling incompetent, not only you is feeling like alienated from anything, The goal is to know that, hey, we are all in this boat together, and the goal is to figure out how then to turn all of those missteps together and begin to thrive and enjoy the process and enjoy the journey. So that's the key thing. I said that you'll be looking at a lot of several things at your grad school. Some of it has to do with your personal developments. Some of them are going to be your academics. You want to still do very well in your academics. And some of them are going to be that you also want to do your science or the research that you've been assigned to work on. But at the same time, you're thinking about your career as well, because beyond the PhD, before you realize you will finish your grad school, whether you're doing your master's or you're doing your PhD, within a stipulated time, you will be done with it. So therefore, you have to already start thinking about your career as well. What are the things you should be doing in preparation to that job or that career that you want to pursue after your grad school? So all of these things makes the whole process sometimes very complex, very full of uncertainties. But we got to figure a way to navigate it such that we can do very well in all of them. So that is why normally we say that don't just survive the grad school. Our goal is to thrive in it. And if we really, really want to thrive in grad school, then we got to look at that green statement. If you want to thrive, then you come first. Everything is going to boil down to you. You're going to be the key driver of this journey, whether to be enjoying it or whether you're going to be surviving that journey. So it starts from you, and therefore it means that a lot of things about you yourself has to change. The way you see it, the kind of practical steps that you need to take in order to be able to thrive. Your thriving is not dependent on anyone. Yes, other people are going to support you along the journey, but majority of it, you're in the driver's seat. So you want to make sure that you are going to drive the direction and carry the people that you need along to support you in that journey. So when we talk about thriving, it's an important concept. We all want to thrive in life. Right? I don't think anybody just want to just get by or just to survive and to struggle. No, it's a human. Every human being desires it. It's every human condition wants it. I mean, typically, when we talk about thriving, what do we really mean in grad school? What do I mean when we talk about thriving? Why do I want to thrive? So I did say that when people are thriving, they feel progress, they feel momentum, and it's also marked by signs of learning. You're constantly just gaining understanding and you're gaining knowledge, and that is going to bring some vitality within you. You feel alive. You know something great is happening, so you're thriving. And those characteristics are things that you're going to be desiring to be happening to you when you're in grad school. Do I feel a sense of aliveness, or am I just getting by? So people who normally would do the survivor mode, basically they just get by meeting the minimum requirements. They are like, hey, I'm not enjoying this thing. I just want to just pass by. Let me just survive, get a minimum grade and be done with this. But that would not be a good attitude and mentality to adopt right from the beginning. We got to close that survivor mode mentality and switch it into a thriving mode mentality, which is going to involve an active growing. You want to actively grow. You want to constantly be developing. And you will see when you develop, you'll prosper because a lot of good things will begin to happen around you. And it's always going to mark by a sense of purpose. You feel that you are purposeful. You feel like you are getting closer to the things that really fulfill you. So it's a desirable state, both in your academic life as well as your personal life. So thriving, when we are in grad school, several things happen in our life. Some of us, even in grad school, you may be parents already. You may have children. Some of you may have married already. So you have other aspects of your life that you're going to be thinking about. It's not just your academic that you want to thrive in. You got to make sure that all of these things are thriving at the same time. It's not that as soon as you start your grad school, you abandon every other thing and put every other thing on hold, so that those things begin to suffer. Those things will switch into survival mode, and only your academic is thriving. If you don't have a synergy and to balance all of these things, then that is not also going to lead to that sense of purpose and well-being that you desire for yourself. So that is just a general framework of where we want to thrive, because it's just a human endeavor. We all desire to thrive. So if you really, really want to thrive, I just want us to really, really stress this particular important point, that it's all going to boil down to our mindset. Our mindset determines everything about our life. And if you, depending on which mindset you decide to go about any business of your life, that is the outcomes you are going to get. So generally, the mindsets are going to be the beliefs. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different homes. We may have come from different countries. And those things are going to form certain beliefs in our mind or give us certain worldviews. And those things kind of impact our success and our well-being. So there can be two key framework of mindset that any two human beings can have. One is having a growth mindset, and one is just going to have a fixed mindset. These are completely two different mindsets that a person can have. One of them is going to limit you, and one of them is going to give you the opportunity to thrive and to grow and to desire a lot of good things for yourself. So whilst one mindset, let's say the growth mindset, is seeing failure as an opportunity to grow, the guy who is fixed or the lady who is fixed in his mind is going to see failure as the limit of their ability. They're going to feel like, I'm just never going to be good at this, or I am just not going to be beyond that. So you limit yourself because it's a fixed mindset. So when failure happens to your life, you kind of fall into that dogma of beating yourself down instead of lifting yourself up and say that, hey, this can be a very good opportunity for me to grow. It's time for me to learn something here. And that's a two different mindset that a person can have. So one mindset, if it's a growth mindset, is going to be thinking, oh, I can learn to do anything I want. The other one is going to say, I'm either good at it or I am not good at it. So somebody can just say, oh, for me, I'm not good at Python programming. Another person is going to say that, oh, I think I can learn how to program in Python. Or I can just do some machine learning. The other person, no, that thing is not for me. I am not good at it, and I can't be good at it. So the fixed mindset is always looking for excuses to talk themselves out of the scenario, which is something that will limit you. So in grad school, you really want to be very open-minded and be ready to learn. And I think one of the key things that I also want to think about it there is all of these things are going to be happening at the same time. Sometimes every human being can feel the mentality thinking of a fixed mindset, but you got to switch it immediately to know that that's not who you are. You have the potential to flip that switch if you really want to get along. So you will see that people who are having growth mindset, they welcome feedback very constructively. But you see some people, even if you give them feedback, they take it very personal. They get so mad. That is a fixed mindset. They think that you are attacking them. They think that you are limiting them or you are exposing their weaknesses. So they go into defensive mode. So a fixed mindset person is not going to respond very well to criticism. Whilst a growth mindset person is going to say, oh, if they say that this isn't good, then the question is, how can I improve it? What can I do to make it better? So those people will receive feedback very, very constructively. And because they do so, they are going to thrive in life. So that is also a concept I want us to keep in mind. You must have to ask yourself every day, what kind of mindset do I have towards this scenario of my life? Am I just locked in, or I am ready to make changes? Am I ready to learn? Am I ready to say that I can do it? So a fixed mindset person, if you look at the right-hand side on the cartoon there, a fixed mindset person is just going to give up. So anytime they face a challenge and they just know this is not for me, they just give up. But a growth mindset person say, I would try a different way. Can I try it in another way to get that result? So it's a concept it's also one of the mentality I want to leave with us. That as we are on this journey and all through our career life, we're going to be needing all of these every stages of our life. Through grad school, beyond grad school, you're going to be exposed to all of these things. And you're going to tell yourself, what kind of mindset do I really want to have? Because the one you have is going to influence how you think. It's going to influence how you handle pressure. It's going to influence how you handle setbacks. And they're going to overall shape you as a person. So I really want us to get that the key thing is that your mindset matters a lot. And I want to encourage us to go for the growth mindset, constantly evolving, constantly ready to learn, constantly asking the questions that will help us to continue to grow. Another kind of framework that I really want to leave with us also today is the key powerful phrase, the power of not yet. So when we come to grad school or every stage of our career, we are all going to be faced with a situation where we don't know something. Yeah, it's true that we don't know everything. If we know everything, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be in grad school, or we wouldn't be even trying to learn it. So just because you don't know it doesn't mean that you can't learn it. So a lot of people who have mindset, they just tell themselves, I am not good at this. So they write themselves off. They won't make any effort to learn it. So if you give yourself the permission by saying the phrase, I don't know it yet, or I am not good at it yet, just that simple word, yet. As soon as you echo that phrase to your mind, your brain tells you that, oh, you don't know it yet, but that means that you're giving yourself also permission to learn it. So it's also a phrase I really want us to keep in our mind. And many of you who are maybe in your PhD programs, let's say, for instance, you go for a conference and you give a presentation, and then somebody asks you a very difficult question, a very technical question that you haven't considered looking at yet. That is a very good time to use the power of not yet. If the person finished the question, I acknowledge, oh, that's a fantastic question you just asked there. It's rather unfortunate we have not looked at that yet. So the person knows that you just didn't write it off. It just gives you also the permission that when you go back, it's something you could discuss either with your advisor, your mentor, and say, oh, when I was at this conference, there was this question about this. We haven't looked at it yet, but what do you think? So that gives you permission to say, oh, we could dig a little bit more and find the answer. So it's a very powerful, simple phrase. It saves you a lot of stress. It also saves you from trouble because you could just say, oh, we've not looked at it yet. The person is not going to persist that or you are wrong or something. It saves you the stress, but give you also the permission to learn it later. So I want to leave that very powerful phrase. There's a very nice book by Donna Pisani, which says the power of not yet. And anybody who want to just pick those things and develop those mentality, you might want to get hold of that as well. But I just want to leave you with these books as well. One of them there up there says that Mindset Matters. It's a very good book. Carol also wrote a lot of very good books on the mindset, the new psychology of success. It just drives a lot of things, and being in the right philosophy is always going to be very critical as we go through this journey, as well as just your personal development, your career development, and every stage of your life. The key thing is always your mindset. What do you tell yourself? What are you telling yourself when nobody's watching you? Do you believe you can do it? Do you believe that you can seek that information? And if you do, then you're going to be fine. So this is also one of the things I want to encourage, especially in grad school. There was this very brilliant piece of work that came some time back. It's a worldview that came that we should put back the philosophy in our doctorates of philosophy. And this is just something that's critical in our grad school. It's not just when you're doing your PhD. It's very relevant whether you're doing your MPhil, you're doing your master's. We need to think about the philosophies we develop in life. I say that people who get a PhD, there is a reason why it's called PH.D. The D is just a doctorate, but the PH is the philosophy. So if you get only the D when you go to grad school, assuming you're doing your PhD, then you're going to be bankrupt of philosophies. So you finish, you are just going to be a bossy person. You're not developing a mentality, right philosophies about life. So you will abuse the title. So as many of you who may be doing your grad school and you're in your PhD programs or your masters, it's very important that you develop the right philosophies now also. Philosophies about just your ethics of work. Philosophies about just how to approach science. Philosophies about how to treat people. Philosophies about how to relate to people. All of those are going to be important philosophies, and they are very, very important in life because they shape who you are and define the core values that you treasure. So we need a lot of scientists who are not just problem solvers. That's what I have here. That we need people who are also problem finders. So this is our philosophy. Can you find new problems? Can you identify problems? Do you have the critical thinker? Science need a lot of critical thinkers, and that is also going to come from the philosophies. Equally, we need a lot of ethical leaders, very, very ethical leaders. All of these are also going to be philosophies you have to develop. When you start your career at your grad school, this is where you begin those journey. If you finish school, are you going to be an ethical leader? Are you going to be an ethical scientist? Are you going to be that ethical that everybody wants from you? You can go there and make a lot of changes when people are doing things the wrong way. Because you develop the right philosophies, you can get to that place and begin to change people's life and begin to change the mentality of people because you have decided to learn all of those. So these philosophies are very, very important. And I can't understate it. I really would want to encourage us, as many as possible, that we think about putting that philosophy back into our studies. Develop them. You watch people who you know are doing some right things. Ask them, why do you do it that way? And then begin to have conversations with them. And therefore, you begin to also formulate your own philosophies about life. philosophy about teaching, philosophy about research, philosophy about how to be a good husband, philosophy to be how to be a good wife, philosophy to be a good scientist. All of these, because before you become a scientist, you must be a human being. So many people forget that. They become scientists and forget that they are human beings. And therefore, they become bossy, they lose their humanity. I really will want to encourage us that let's keep our humanity and develop the right philosophies, which are going to help us thrive through grad school as well as through our professional careers. And the reason why we do that is to make sure that we do all of that in a sense of critical thinking, developing our social responsibilities, and all of those things are going to help us, not only yourself, but when you finish school, you can use it to help other people as well. And that is the key thing. I would think that any successful person should care a lot about investing in other people as well. But if you don't have the right philosophies, then what are you going to invest in someone? A lot of younger generations and younger people are looking up to many of us who are in grad school now. And your job is to be able to mentor them and encourage them and to motivate them and inspire them. But you must have the right philosophies to be able to do that. So if we want to thrive, then there are several things we need to be doing. We need to be developing ourselves personally, as well as acquiring a lot of interpersonal skills. There are a lot of digital things that we need to be acquiring, tools that are there, organizational tools that we need to be acquiring. And there are a lot of resources that all over around you, but sometimes we are not even aware of them. So going forward in the discussion, some of the topics I want to raise are some of the things I thought that personally we should work on ourselves, develop ourselves, and that will help us to thrive both in grad school as well as beyond grad school. So let's get to some of them. Everybody says we want people who are critical thinkers. What does that thing mean at all? What is it that you say somebody should be a critical thinker? If you're a critical thinker, yes, it's going to help you to thrive. It's going to make you succeed. People are going to gravitate towards you. A lot of good things will come your way because you think outside the box. You're a critical thinker. But it's just a terminology which I don't want you to make look too big, but these are just the basic elements of a critical thinker. It's somebody who is constantly looking for clarification. Because you can think critically, then you're always thinking, can you clarify that a little bit? You're always asking very relevant questions. And as you ask this question, you are beginning to connect them to yourself, identify with your personal understanding. You're always analyzing the thought process and analyzing situation. You don't just receive information without analyzing. You're constantly evaluating it as well. And then when you do all of these four things, you clarify, you ask questions, you identify with your own thought, you analyze and you evaluate them, then you can begin to create a lot of very important ideas and creative ideas. And those ideas, somebody will now look at it and say, oh, this guy is a critical thinker. This lady is a critical thinker. But it comes by us doing all these four things first. You are always going to be asking questions. You're always going to be analyzing, evaluating, seeking clarification. And if you're that type of person who do that, you realize that your thought process is going to be very novel, innovative, because you put several things together before you arrive at that conclusion. So a critical thinker is somebody who would do all of those things all the time. It gives you that ability to judge and discern. So a critical thinker, that's the criticals, which is a Greek word there. It just basically means able to discern or to judge information. But for you to judge an information or get a discernment, you have to be able to ask all the relevant questions so that you don't make mistakes. You don't jump to conclusion without asking the right questions. You don't draw a conclusion from just a very narrow experiment and draw a very big conclusion without evaluating and interpreting your results significantly before you draw those conclusions. So a critical thinker needs to make sure you have all of these questions all the time. And in grad school is a place where we need to ask questions. You should never be shy of asking questions. You should never be shy of saying, hey, what do you think about this? Among yourself as well as among your professors. And your advisor is not only your only professor. You can ask from every dimensions of other experts and get all of those views so that your horizon of understanding is expanded, and therefore your judgment and your discernment will also increase significantly. So that brings us to some key things. I'm just going to walk through a couple of them very quickly so that we can then discuss them a little bit more if people have specific questions on them. So one of them that I talk about thriving in grad school is those of you particularly who are doing research and going to join a research lab. Then whoever you choose to be your advisor or your mentor is going to be very critical. Who you choose to be your advisor is very, very, very crucial. Most of the time, sometimes we don't even know the people before we join them. I've seen a lot of students apply, say, oh, I'm just going to Penn State, or they just apply to Penn State. They haven't contacted any advisor. They don't even know who they are going to. Most often, you are not going to the university, especially if you're going for a PhD. You are going to someone. You're going to work in somebody's lab. So it's very, very important that you take some time to know who is that person. What is their personality? What do they do? Is students in their group thriving? Is the group flourishing? Am I going to be stagnated when I go there? Or if I go there, I will also thrive with them because I see the group as a thriving group. Because your advisor-student relationship is very, very essential, very, very critical. If you happen to fall into the wrong hands, that can break you, and therefore you will not thrive, but you will survive the journey. Yeah. So it's something I always want to encourage students to look into critically before they make the decision. So you do have all these type of mentors that you may come across. Some are going to be micromanagers. They'll control you, control freak. They want to know what time you get there. They demand accountability at every seconds. So those guys are going to control you. And what that does is it stifles your own creativity, and you don't advance very well. There are also some advisors who just hands off the whole thing to you. They tell you, this is your work. It's not my work. So you're going to figure out everything yourself. And that is also going to make you go into survival mode, because you're going to be suffering and trying to figure out a lot of things by yourself. But then you're going to have this amazing one, which is going to become your personal coach. I call them the rare gems. You don't find them very often, but you always have to do your homework even before you settle on who to join. Sometimes it's not just about the seniority of the person, because this personal coach is somebody everybody needs. We all need a coach. A coach goes beyond an advisor. He's going to care about your well-being. He's going to care about when you walk to their office, the first question is not, where is the result? The first question is, are you okay? Is everything okay at home? So they are involved in your life. And if you happen to find one, you have to say, oh, thank you, God, and hold them very dear and do as expected, so that you can keep such a relationship. So those are things that I also want to leave with us. Anybody on the call now who may be aspiring to join grad school, or you are in a master's program, beginning to look at PhD program and thinking of advisors, my first rule of thumb is do some homework. Go read about these professors. Who are they? Social media is there to tell you a lot of information about who the personality is. You have some of the students, you can reach out to them and just ask questions before you sign up for things that either will break you or is going to uplift you. And then the second thing normally I would expect, which is also something you have to do, I call them the rules of engagement. So every time we go to a new place, many of you are now in University of Colorado Mines. When you got there to Colorado, a lot of things, the way they do things there, you don't know them before you arrive, because many of us came from Africa, and the way things are done are different from the way things are done here. So you have to take the first few moments, and we learn every day, because you don't take one day to know all the rules of engagement. So take time to and learn the rules of engagement, know how things are done, so that you don't fall victim to those rules. Especially in America, as we have a very legalistic country, there are several things that you cannot be ignorant of. Ignorance is not an excuse at all. If you fall victim to it, the system will deal with you because you did not learn the rules of engagement. So take time to figure out in your discipline, in your department, and everything you're doing, what are the things that you need to adhere to? What are some of the fundamental rules of engagement that you need to be aware to? When do you need to submit a particular document? Make sure you know all of those things so that you can adhere to them. If you're taking classes, how do you go about all of those things? They're very important to figure out right from the beginning. So those rules are going to be there, but you must also define your own rules of engagement. So the school will define the rules of engagement that you must follow, but you must also define your own set of rules of engagement. Those are going to be your moral compass. They're going to be like your GPS map. So you have to tell yourself, okay, these are things I will do, these are things I will not do. If you tell yourself that, okay, on Friday, I need to get home and I'm going to go to the gym, that's your rule of engagement. I expect to see that from 6 p.m. to maybe 8 p.m., you are doing this. Everybody should respect that rule for you. If you tell yourself you're going to do this, so nobody should force you out of it. People should begin to know your rules of engagement as well, so they should know your boundary. If your answer is no, it's no. If not, if you don't have your own rules of engagement, people are going to drag you in every direction. And before you know, you've wasted all your time, you've lost, and then you're pulling, and distractions get coming into your life, and therefore you're losing track of the main things that you set out to do for yourself. So that key word, let it ring your mind. There are rules of engagement that you must follow, but there are also rules of engagement that you must define for yourself. Like, for instance, I am breaking one of my rules of engagement. which is I have to seek permission from my wife to be able to do that. So you can see it's past 6 p.m. here. One of my rules of engagement is I don't take any other engagement beyond 6 o'clock. I want to get home to go to the family and spend time with the children and get to see how their day has gone, especially on a Friday. So I have, since NS contacted me, I have to make sure, I know I'm going to break a rule. I have to make sure my wife approves of it before I'm here. So when it was even getting to time, I have to appeal, say, hey, babe, I'll be back soon, but I need to take care of this. So I have her blessing. But assuming it's not NS or it's not something I do care about, and it reached me that I have to be here after 6 o'clock, I'm going to let you know that I will not do it. We'll do it on another day. So again, make sure you define your own rules of engagement. The next thing, which is very clear, is many of you are either in advanced stage of your grad school. Some of you are at the beginning stage of it. But most of these things just come down to vision. What really do you want to do? I've also passed through grad school journey. And somehow, I'm very grateful that I figured out a lot of things very early in my career. And therefore, they helped me to set my priorities right, define the things I want to be, the things I want to achieve in life. And therefore, I start the preparation right from get-go. So defining your vision, what really do you want to do? What is driving you? What is that sense of purpose you have? After your grad school, what really do you want to do? What kind of areas you want to inspire people? What are the areas you want to contribute to? What is that thing that you know you're going to make an impact? Define that vision clearly so that you begin to make practical steps to get yourself ready to be able to deliver that. So your success in grad school also depends on that. If you know you want to navigate yourself towards maybe a career in academia, a career in an industry, you have to define that vision clearly so that you know what are the requirements to get into industry, what are the requirements to get into academia, what are the things I need to be doing now as I prepare for that vision I want to achieve or that thing I want to attain. So defining the vision it gives you clarity and make sure that you know the things that you want to do. So when you define your vision, you give yourself a sense of direction. That direction is going to keep you focused, motivated, even when the going gets tough. Because you know what really is going to come after you go through the tough time, the vision will be clear. So defining your vision, many of us, if you haven't figured it out yet, you got to figure that out. One of the questions I ask people when they want to join my research group is like, why do you want to do a PhD? Like, why do you want to join Penn State? Or why do you want to come to my group? And I would listen to your answers, and then I'll make a decision really if this is a big enough vision, a clear vision enough, clarity enough or not. Imagine I ask a student, why do you want to join my research group? And you tell me, oh, my girlfriend just moved to State College, so I want to move there. I don't see that as a big vision because what if your girlfriend leaves tomorrow? Are you going to quit the PhD program and live with her? So your vision is not just tied to the location of your partner, but it has to be bigger than that. So you have to define that clearly. What really do you want to do? And then I want to be part of that journey with you. I want to support you to achieve that vision. But if the vision is just to be close to your girlfriend, how am I going to contribute to that? That becomes very difficult. So we need to make sure while we go to grad school, we start narrowing down our vision, defining really clearly what is it that we want to do. And because when we do all of those things, then it helps us to know how we should be preparing for the various things that we need to gather along the journey as we prepare towards all of that. And because the vision is very big, you define it, then you have to start from somewhere. A lot of the research projects, like you join a professor's group, and they say, oh, I just got these big grants. The grant is very big, but you have to start small. So you have to start small, but you want to think very, very big. Yes, you know the ultimate goal, but if you look at the big picture, it will overwhelm you. So you feel like, I cannot do this. But if you begin to break that down into smaller tasks, very specific tasks, then you'll be able to unravel them one after the other. By the time you put all of them together, you can achieve that big goal that you really want to achieve. So I always will say that make sure that you think very big, but always start very small. And that is where you begin to set very specific, I call them SMART goals, very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives and goals for yourself. And that's going to keep you motivated and stay realistic to everything that you want to achieve. So you keep it steadily. And I put that when you have this mentality of starting small but thinking big, then these four things can happen to you. You minimize risk. When you start something very small, it's a part where you can start something small, minimize the risk, you know that it works, then you make it bigger. So you begin to expand it. It also helps you to grow in confidence because if you start something very small and it works, then you can add on to it. That's going to build your confidence. But if you start too big and it fails miserably, your confidence is going to go down. And grad school, it's a place you don't want your confidence to be down. It's a place where you feel motivated, feel confident. So it's always you have the bigger project, but what are the little aspects you can tackle one after the other in order that you can achieve those things? When it starts very small too, it gives you the learning ability because you are learning and you are iterating at the same time. A lot of our research we do comes through learning and iterations. Iteration 1 may fail, but iteration 2 may work. So you are iterating at the same time. But it just helps you to maintain your motivation as well. Because the goal is big. You think you know what you run, it will keep you motivated. You know I will get there, I will achieve it. So when you do all of that, then that is why I put that last point that you got to put in the kind of discipline and hard work to achieve it. A lot of the time, we come down to this point, the discipline and the hard work to achieve it. Nothing good comes easy. So I definitely want to lay that part that when we are in grad school, it's a stage in our life where we are going to be very disciplined. We're going to be very hardworking. We're going to stay consistent. If not, if those elements are missing, then it's very difficult to achieve great things. So you can have a very big agenda and very big goal for yourself, but if you are not disciplined to achieve it, it's not going to happen. You may have goal that you want to lose this amount of weight. If you don't put in the discipline in the gym or the exercise, that's not going to happen. You can have a big goal that by the time I finish my PhD, I want to have 6 papers published, peer-reviewed papers. If you don't put in the hard work and the discipline, you are not going to achieve the 6 papers. By the time you're even in the final year, you may have only 1 or 2. And therefore, you fall short of the goal you set for yourself. So the discipline is very important. So just as I said, that take very small step. The same way you have to enjoy the journey. Celebrate everything achievement. So as you break the task small, when you finish one and it's very successful, be happy, be excited. And that gives you confidence so that you can keep building the momentum. Because grad school is a long period. And there are several years you got to do that. So you don't want to wait if you're doing a PhD for 4 years or 5 years. You don't want to wait at the end of 5 years before you even have your first celebration of any achievement. First year is done. You've passed your exams. That is a good time to say, hey, I'm excited. Hey, friends, let's celebrate that. You passed your candidacy exam. It's a milestone in your PhD journey. Celebrate that. You got a first publication. You got to be happy. Celebrate it. If there's even, or you go for a first conference, international conference, or even your first presentation. It's a milestone. It's something you've achieved. You know what I mean? Celebrate here is not a big celebration to go and throw a party. You don't need a party to celebrate. It could just be, hey, friends or your roommates, and say, oh, my first paper just got published today. You have a special meal and just talk about it and share even the paper with your friend. What was the content of that paper? That's an opportunity to celebrate. So you're seeing the bigger picture of every small win along the journey is what we all need to keep our confidence and our joy and our motivation alive so that we can keep adding and adding. So because one success breeds another success. And if you can't even recognize it as a success yourself, then it's not going to attract another success. So very, very important we get all of that. This, I don't want to spend time on it, but I just want to leave it there as also a quote from Ellen Johnson that said that if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. So most of our big dreams should scare us, but that simply means that we need to work hard to achieve them. Yeah. So I remember when I moved, as you see from my trajectory, moving from Ghana to Nigeria to India, back to the UK. I was in the Netherlands before I moved to the US. I have moved across various continents and various countries. And at each stage, I am confronted with different culture, different perspective, different opinions. The question will be how I handle those opinions is going to determine how I succeed or thrive in those environments. You can go to those environments and be closed to yourself, then you are not going to learn from that experience. So one of the key things I tell people is let's be very adaptable and be very open to all the diversities around us. Many of you who are now in the Colorado School of Mind there, yeah, you may have a few people who look like you, but you have a lot of other people who are from Bangladesh, from India, from Australia, from the UK, from the US. All of this is around you. You don't need to be in India before you learn something from an Indian, because there are Indians in your school. You can just catch up with them and get some perspective. So the key thing I want to say is embrace all this diversity, because some of the best things you're going to learn are not going to come from somebody who is from Ghana because you're from Ghana, or somebody from Nigeria because he's from Nigeria. Some of the best things that are going to happen to you are going to happen to you. Maybe somebody even from Djibouti, somebody from Spain, somebody from a place that unconventionally you never thought about. And some of your best friends that you're going to keep for the rest of your life who are even going to help you the most are not going to be people from your country. They're going to be people from all over the place. So this is a stage to develop the capacity to embrace diversity and be adaptable to all of these experiences, be open to seek people's opinion, be able to embrace yourself into all these various backgrounds of people. And when you do that, then you are not only learning your culture from your country, but you're learning how all this multicultural environment put together makes you succeed. And that is something I'm very grateful to God that I have had a chance to travel many countries and live in those countries for multiple years. And therefore, I can inculcate all of those experiences into my day-to-day life. And overall, I see them make me a better human being than if I were just in one place. So beyond that, the key thing I want to tell us is that in grad school, as a tool, one of the key things is there are times things are not going to work. So this is the part I say the negative. There are times things are not going to work. Challenges will come. They are inevitable. The research will fail. That paper you submitted will be rejected. The exam you wrote, maybe things didn't go well. You failed it. All kinds of things can happen. But beyond that, we need to be aware that it is also an opportunity for us to grow what we call resilience in the face of adversity. So when those setbacks happen, how do you take them on the journey? Do you just fall into the dogma of pity party because you fall down, you take your sleeping place as the falling ground as your sleeping ground, or you're going to get up and keep moving on? So that is the key thing I want to say, that when we're talking about resilience, it's a belief in yourself. You got to know that, hey, you have the capacity within you to rise up, that this is just a phase. This one too is going to pass. It's a temporary scenario in your life. You should not make it a permanent situation. It's a belief that you will learn something through the struggle. So every opportunity, when things don't go well, that's the opportunity for you to learn something. And that's why I don't run away from when things fail. I tell my PhD student, I don't want you to always come and tell me that it's working, it's working, it's working, it's working. Then you're not learning anything. But when they come to my office and they say, oh, the thing failed, then I smile and I'm still like, okay, so now let's learn. That is a time to learn. So when things don't go right, don't just run out very quickly out of that place. It's an opportunity for you to learn something. It's an opportunity to develop that resilience, to know you can bounce back. But also treat it as an opportunity to just learn. And therefore, if your mindset is like that, then you will learn from it and even become better. But if your mindset is like, oh, I've just failed this thing, I am not good at it, it looks like everything is working against me, it looks like everybody just dislikes me, oh, I just look like my advisor doesn't think that I can do this. So when you start to speak negative, a lot of negativity, that begins to take strong hold of you and therefore derail your momentum and your progress. And therefore you will not thrive, but you will just be surviving. So that's why I leave that quote there. We should never lose hope when all of this has happened. We should never be despair. We need to keep learning. We need to keep improving. We need to keep moving forward. And the key is that if you're going through some of this difficult time, you shouldn't be there alone. You have to, that's why you got to look for people to carry you along the journey, because difficult times can be very difficult. That's why they call difficult times. It means you can't get out sometime by yourself. You need a couple of other people around you to tell you that, hey, we got your back. You can get it done. So in the midst of that, I always say, let's channel the spirit of the eagle to rise above our challenges. It's something, it's a phrase I have printed in my office. It's right in front of me, and I look at it every day. The Nelson, rise above every challenge that comes your way. And when they come, I look at it. What is this? Can I see this as a stepping stone to rise to the next level of my assignment and my calling and the things I'm destined to do, than to just say, oh, it's a challenge, so I fall back. No, we got to rise above them. And that is when we develop the resilience to rise above them. So there is this nice program. Many of you who will know the NIH, the National Health Institute, Institute of Health, they do have a very good series. And if you have not watched it before, I will encourage you. It's a YouTube series, what the title, Becoming a Resilient Scientist. It's something I can recommend very strongly to many of you. If you have got some spare time, just play them in your background and listen to what they're saying. They talk about resilience in your well-being, exploring imposter syndromes, the cognitive distress, advocating for yourself, like self-advocacy, developing feedback resilience, and managing and maximizing your mentoring relationship. They're a very good series that everybody who wants to develop resilience should be watching. So I put the link there. I will be sharing these PowerPoints with Ernest, and I'm sure he can circulate it among yourself so you can have access to the link and watch these videos later.
All right, let's go ahead.
Okay. So in addition to that, this is also something that guide myself. It's a personal thing I want to leave with you. It's a tool you must have at the back of your mind. It's a mentality you must have as well. Don't take rejections personally. Don't take them personally, because there are going to be a lot of rejections. In grad school, people are going to say a lot of no's to you. A lot of papers you will write, they may say no. A lot of things are going to come that way. But I want you to view those no's as opportunity to learn. And I always have this favorite quote from Einstein that says that he's very thankful to all those who said no to him, because it's because of them that he's doing it himself. When people say no to you, don't get mad at them. Don't get angry. Just walk away and say, the no simply means I can learn it myself. It's also a mindset. So every time a no comes, don't just see it as a rejection and talk down yourself. He rather give you a determination to learn it yourself. And once you learn it, that's when it becomes your own. Everything that you figure out in life yourself, through the pain and the sweat and the struggle, they become your identity. They become your bona fide property. You can own them and use it to admonish someone tomorrow. So never take all those rejection and learn to talk for yourself. One of the tools you will learn in grad school is learn how to self-advocate. Nobody's going to speak for you. Nobody's going to praise you. Nobody's going to look for all of those. You're going to learn how to do that for yourself. So if something is going very wrong and you just keep quiet, you're going to suffer. You're going to be in a very serious, painful state. So learn to find what are the things that are yours, what are your rights, what are the things that are for you and things that are not for you. And ask questions around so that you know how to advocate for the things that are entitled to you and the resources that are entitled to you, information that you need to have access to. If something is not going right, do you know who to talk to find clarifications and to resolve the issue? So these are all things we need to learn how to do. If you don't learn how to do that, and especially when you're in very young stages of your career, either in grad school, somebody can take advantage of you and force you to do a lot of things. You are gradually doing it. You are not happy doing it, but you don't also know how to talk about it so that thing stop. I will seriously encourage a lot of that to be an attitude. Figure out information. Confine the people that you can say, hey, this is going on. I really don't like it. What do you think I should do about it? The person may point you in the right direction and pursue it before it is too late. Yeah. So that's why you need a support system to do all of these things. I believe in the power of numbers, as we do have our favorite quote from Ghana and Amanelwe, and we say a single tree cannot make a forest. It is true. And a single tree cannot also withstand a storm. We are in a foreign land. We cannot survive a lot of things by ourselves alone. There's power in numbers. So that's why you need a support system. Build a very good rapport system among yourself, colleagues, and among your professors who have your back, so that when things are not going right, you can go to them and ask questions. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to seek for people's opinion. And when you do that, then I think things are going to be very, very, very well if you are inspired to keep that concept that I need a support system. Always have somebody apart from your advisor, somebody else that you can confide in. Because your advisor can support you maybe for your research, but maybe another advisor can support you spiritually because you can discuss a lot of things. Before we are social human beings, we need one another. So if you're somebody who believes in the things of God, it's not every professor you can walk to his office and start talking about things about God and say, can you pray with me? You cannot do that with some professors. But maybe you have another professor where you can discuss some of those subjects with. So don't be afraid to look for a multitude of support system, each of them tailored for the specific need you have. So that's why, again, this is something I want to leave with you. Take it very seriously that it's not the load that breaks you down. It's how you carry the load. So if you decide to carry all the heavy burdens, all the liftings yourself, you're going to crash down. You're going to break you down and you're not going to survive. So you have to figure out, how do I carry this amazing number of bricks all over my back? Can you carry it alone? No, you don't have to. That's why you would need to look for all the support system around you. Those are some of you are in your final year, some of you are in your third year, some of you in your second year, some of you are just beginning the journey. If you're just beginning, speak to the seniors, ask them questions. Hey, how is it like writing qualifying exam? How is it like passing this class? Ask questions, let them provide, because they worked there before, they can provide you some support system so that you don't repeat the mistakes that they have repeated. So look for those questions, and I'm sure that they're all going to be happy to help you. So mentality to do very well in some of these things, I call them, don't compete among yourselves. Because sometimes we can, if we are not very careful, we'll fall into that habit. of competing. Grad school, there's no competition. Because you publish 2 papers and I don't have any paper, doesn't mean anything. I don't have to compete with you. And education is not like a one-way direction. Tomorrow, you can be ahead of me today, and tomorrow I'll be ahead of you. So we need to keep that mentality that it's not competition, and therefore we need to collaborate. How do we help one another to succeed? And grad school, you need that extensively. Now compete at all among yourself and share information and make yourselves better. And because collaboration is the key to success, and trust is always going to be the glue that will hold it together. People should trust you. Your advisor should trust you. People who work with you should trust you. If people begin to lose their trust for you, they are not going to give you opportunities again. So never, anybody who gives you their trust, please don't abuse the trust. Use it, protect it, keep it very fragile, and making sure that it's always working. Because as soon as you break it, every other opportunity that comes with it, you will not receive them again. So number 1, do not compete, collaborate. But number 2, be trustworthy. Make sure people you work with can vouch for you. And that is the same way that they can speak well about you tomorrow when you're looking for a reference letter, when you're going to go for that job and you need somebody to speak about you. They need to trust you to be able to put their word in for you. So very, very important we keep those things. Employability is very, very important. So when you do all your research and all of those things, we're going to teach you a lot of technical things. You're going to write a paper. You're going to do experiments. You do some TEM. All those skills are hard skills, but a lot of soft skills that you need to get once you go to grad school. So soft skills are going to be things that about your communication, your empathy, your ability to present, your scientific writing, communication. These are all things we call them soft skills. They are what gives you a job. It's not just you got a PhD. If you get a PhD, but you don't know even how to market yourself, you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to talk about your science, nobody's going to hire you. And nobody's going to give you a chance to lead anything. The most influential leaders or people they're given opportunity to lead people are going to be the ones who develop their soft skills because they have mastered the art of speaking. They've mastered the art of building teams, creativity, coaching. So I really want to encourage us to keep those also as, don't just get hard skills and say, oh, I'm just good in flotation chemistry, or I'm just good in designing material. But you just design and you don't even know how to talk about it. That will be a blunder. It will be a big mistake. So let's build our employability as we're in school. Right now is the time to build it. If you finish your school and you don't know all of those things, already you have finished the school, so it will affect you. So make sure once you are on this journey, you start asking this question. Is there any course on scientific writing, scientific communication? Is there something on ability to do this? Attend some of those seminars or workshops or training to add to yourself because the world is changing. And we need people who are also adaptable and skilled to be able to do that. So I normally would say that improve your technical writing. This is something that doesn't come. Even professors struggle with writing. It's not just students. Because professors are writing grants, students are writing papers. Technical writing is critical. And it's a stage I really want to encourage all of you. Many of you who go to your early stages of your grad school, PhD, spend some time to write review papers. You learn a lot by writing a review paper. You learn how to write. You also know the subject matter when you do review papers. So that can be your low-hanging fruits. As soon as you start a new project, they give you a topic. Ask your advisor, oh, can we write a review paper on this topic? If you go on that expedition, you will know so much. And that helps to even rephrase your hypothesis, frame up your research questions. But as you are doing that and learning, but at the same time, you publish it as well, which is going to be good for your career. So learn to do that. I did a lot of literature review trainings in the past. If you go to my website, there will be YouTube links to like various literature review trainings I have done in the past, how to write a review paper and get it published. You can watch those things later, so I'm not going to go into those things. And then you can learn practical steps on how to do, like write a review paper, which is something I encourage every young career person. Just write one of them. It broadens your understanding. Yeah. So when it comes to the writing, these are tools I want to give us now. So every type of project you are doing, every research you're doing, is a story. Learn how to tell your story. Every story has a good beginning, a middle, and an end. So every research question, ask all these questions. What story do I want to tell? That research I'm doing, what is the story behind it? Why is it important? Why is it necessary? What are the strategies we are going to adapt to answer the questions? So you're framing a story in your mind every time you go to do an experiment. Every time you're going to run a simulation. What is the story you want to tell? What did you find? And how do you present that? So every time you're about to conceptualize the story, these are the questions you should be asking yourself. How am I going to do it? What do you think is going on? Ask all of these questions. If your advisor ask questions like, how are we going to do this? So that helps you to frame the storyline, and therefore you can be able to tell it very well. So a strong narrative will bring excitement in the project, because if you are not excited about your project, why should I be excited about it? If you cannot tell me the story behind the project, why should I care about that? So you should be, first of all, inspired. You should be excited to tell me a story about it. And then you can draw people in to say that, oh, this is a very exciting research, and everybody wants to be part of it. One of the things that many of us don't do is that PhD or grad school is a very long journey. You're going to be doing many projects. So every time you finish a particular experiment or a simulation, my advice for you is create mini figures from every experiment. Take time to build your figures as you continue your research. Everyone write some bullet points below the figure and say, oh, when I did this experiment, this was the result. These are the lessons I've learned from it. Because just after 3 months after that experiment, you may even forget what is it that you did there. So create the habit of, as soon as the experiment finish, generate very good pictures or images that you want to use for a publication or for your report or for your thesis, and write comments below them. When you do that progressively, when it's time to write your paper, you write it very easily. When it comes to write your thesis, you write it very easily because you have already thought through these images and you generate them as you progress through your work. So that's something I really want to encourage us as well to do through that program. And just constantly review your progress. When you go to grad school, review your own progress. Because what you do 6 months ago, you might forget it even after a year. So constantly review yourself, update your notes. You have notebooks. Update that constantly so that you are aware of your own research. So that if I ask you tomorrow, hey, what was happening here? And you tell me, I don't know, it will just be so bad. Like you did a thing yourself and you don't even know it yourself. So keep regular updates for yourself. Sometimes it can be weekly, sometimes it can be monthly. Write notes for yourself. Review your progress, your data regularly, and create the images accordingly as you progress. And that's going to help you when it comes to writing, because you can then quickly follow them and write. One of the things we never do, which is a tool to do very well and keep track of your references, learn. I will always encourage every grad student to learn one of these tools. I don't need you to learn all of them, but if it's EndNote you want to learn to manage your references, Mendeley that you want to use to manage your references, or Zotero that you want to use to manage your references, just learn one of them. Sometimes when you join a group, maybe there's somebody that's using EndNote. Just ask them, how do I use EndNote? And start to keep track of your references so that you read a paper maybe when you were in year 1. But now in your final year, you're trying to remember the paper, but you don't even know where you put it. You don't even know where your reference manager is. So it's always very good to track your references very, very well so that you have a clear idea where everything is happening. So these tools are there for us to use as grad students. You don't need all of them, but choose one of them and do it very well. I started talking about this already as a tool also is public speaking. You got to learn how to speak in public. I know some people will say, oh, I don't like to talk. I'm just a timid person. I'm just a quiet person. I know how to do the work, but I don't know how to talk about it. I definitely want to encourage every one of you to thrive in your career, to thrive in your grad school, and beyond your grad school, you must master the art of speaking. You must master the art of communication. And this is your ability to present your thoughts, ability to stand in front of audience and engaging with them. So that is something that I really want every one of them to do. Some of the things I do when I started at early stages of my career, I line up a couple of people that I like the way they speak. And I just watch their YouTube video over and over, talk about a subject. And I'm watching them. How did they articulate their thought? How did they stress their voice? How did they engage their audience? And you begin to learn all of those things and bring them to your own experience. And therefore, you also begin to pick the art of speaking. So if you want to do that very well, every good speaker is somebody who is always engaging with his audience. Yeah. Your PowerPoints are going to be very clear. You're going to make sure that there are no mistakes. You are going to vary your tone as you speak. When there's a time to emphasize something, you emphasize it. When it's a time to speak in a monotone, you speak in a monotone. And one way to do very well in any presentation is just practice. Practice and practice and practice and practice. It will be a mistake for somebody to go to a presentation and then all of a sudden they see mistake on their own slide. It's like, did you practice? Didn't you see it? Can't you correct it before the presentation? So those things are very, very important that we need to get those habits. That landscape is very critical. And I think the last few things before I bring the session before questioning is one of the best things you're going to learn in grad school is time management. You got to learn time management. When you were doing your undergrad, we were programming you. We say be in class at 8 o'clock, be in this place at 2:30. But when you become a graduate student and you are in control of research, you need to go to the lab at a particular time. Your advisor doesn't need to tell you to be there at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. You are going to be the master of your time. So how you manage your time is going to be very, very critical. You have to respect your own time, but you must respect other people's time as well. Don't promise an appointment and you don't show up for the appointment. So that's called time management. So if there are some calendar reminders you have to set for yourself, you got to set those things. You plan these things very well, prioritize things because there's so many things to do. And therefore, not learning how to prioritize your time, it's just like right now, I tend to be very, very busy. And if I don't prioritize my time, then a lot of things will fall through the cracks. But you don't want that as well. So learning that skill and asking yourself, what are some of the tools I can use to not forget appointments, prioritize my tests? Are there reminders? Are there post-its that I need to stick in front of my fridge to remind me of the things I need to do? You need to get into those habits of developing them right from here. So networking. You are here already. Take advantage to make a lot of very good friends. When you go to conferences, which I will encourage you to do, learn to network with people. Engage with professors that you will need tomorrow. Engage with colleagues that you will need tomorrow. Build network with, these days you have LinkedIn, your professional bodies. Engage with those communities, people who are in your field. Make them your friends, accept them, follow their research activities. When they do something good, let them know you are following them. And therefore, tomorrow when you need something, it's easier for you to say, oh, this is Nelson. I know we've been doing this and that. You know, it's not time for you to introduce yourself. People know you already. So networking is a very powerful tool for success in any endeavor. I cannot underestimate it. So I will point this to anybody who have not seen this before. There's something called the Elon Next. It's a continuing education experience. It's a place that you can learn a lot of things. We also have LinkedIn Learning, several things for you to learn. Engage in all of those things and get them into your system whilst you are still a graduate student, so that when you finish, you have all the tools available to you. This was the best advice I received from when I was in Kigali recently in February in Rwanda. I was in a meeting where the National Academy president from the US, Maria, gave this statement that emergency is not the best time to exchange contact numbers. It's time to call. So you need to know people already before emergency strikes. That is the reason why you network. That's the reason why you get to know people. If emergency strikes before you are not looking for the number to call, things might be too late. So make sure you get people. Don't just know people on the peripheral level. Know them. Let them also know you. You have exchanged the numbers. There are people you can count on. So when you call them, even in the night, they know to respond to you. If you need a specific advice, they can help you. So that's something I want to encourage us to do. Emergency is not the best time to exchange contacts. Let's get them right now so that when it's time to call, we just call. Let's stay consistent. Don't be very good in the morning and the afternoon you are not good. The very day you operate at 30%, that's the day maybe your destiny helper sees that, oh, this guy is not consistent. It's not a good person. He doesn't take his work seriously. So you have to have the discipline to stay consistent. Very, very consistent. So it means sometimes will be tough, but you got to tell yourself, no matter how tough it is, I will still wake up. I will still get that thing going. And therefore, it will pay the dividends when it's time to do that. And normally, this is my last thing I normally would tell us. For you to do all of these things and acquire all of these things, the most important of all of them is what I call prioritize your mental health and your holistic well-being. This, your holistic well-being here involves your emotional stability, your health stability, your spiritual stability, your well-being in every area, your emotional, your friends. Because this is something we take for granted. We think we can just go through life and not take care of our mental well-being and our well-being. We're in grad school, so we don't want to cook again. We eat anything that comes our way. We don't exercise anymore. Sometimes we even forget that, oh, if you are spiritual, you love God, and you say, oh, it's time to put God on hold. Let me finish all of these. But those things you lose your sense of who really you are. So I strongly advocate for people to make sure that they are prioritizing your mental health being, but your holistic well-being. Getting the enough sleep that you need. Sometimes you will deny yourself sleep, but that's okay. You got to compensate for it another time. You eat healthy, you exercise regularly, get a habit of forming teams and do something that keeps you motivated and refreshed. If for the gentlemen, sometimes they go and play football. If you want to play the football, join them and play. If it's an activity that you do to distress yourself, because the journey is going to be very stressful. There's a lot of stress. So you have to find something to remove the stress. You got to set boundaries for yourself. You have to manage your stress. And whenever you need a professional advice or counsel, you got to seek them. Look for them. So don't just sit there and assume that, oh, I will get by. It's not going to get better. So look for help and prioritize your mental well-being. And if you do that, then everything is going to be fine. So normally I'll end by telling us that we should make the right choices and then act as if we have no other choice. We got to challenge ourselves every day with our ambitious goals, and then we can find a way to rise to the challenge. And the key thing is be a participant in this. This journey, you need to be participating in it. You cannot go to grad school and be outside of the participation. You must participate in it. You must participate in the research. You must participate in the exercise. You must participate in everything. And if you participate, you will learn, you will grow, you will be fulfilled, you will thrive, and you feel the vitality and the aliveness that you desire to have. And then with that, I want to pause here and I'll leave my contact there. I'll be happy to hear from as many of you as we can talk about any other subject, not just on this level. There are several things we could talk about beyond this discussion today. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening, and I will be happy to have some discussions with us now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nelson, for this wonderful presentation. I've got some key points, and I'm sure the feedback that I've got from most of the members, they are saying that it's a very powerful presentation. So before we sign off or move on, the floor is open. If you have any question or comment, you could open your mic.
I'll stop sharing so that I can see people if they want to show their face here.
If there's any question on your mind, you can just open your microphone or put it.
Yeah, happy to talk about any subject. It can be on the presentation, it can be on any other topic as well.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, good evening.
My name is David. Really interesting conversation today. Thank you so much for sharing all you did. Out of curiosity here, you talked a lot about different aspects, time management, technical growth, and all of that. And I wanted to see if you could touch on, trying to have more like a balanced life. How would you advise, like grad students, like, is there more focus on technical skills? Are there opportunities to try to be more robust in terms of getting other skills? And how can we balance that?
Balance all of that, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So I always tell people that when you start your PhD journey, you have a certain aspiration. That's why you start with a vision. So when you define your vision right from the beginning, you have a certain desire you have. You want to go into a particular field. There's a discipline area you want to go to. So you know the things that make people to succeed in that area. So right when you start your grad school, you start asking this question. Oh, if I want to go to, say, work in Intel, what are some of the things that I need to acquire to work very well in Intel? Or if you want to go to public policy and to drive some policy, what do people need to have to be able to succeed in public policy? So yeah, you may be doing a particular set of research, but you realize that that research is not giving you all of that skills that you need because of your vision. So that is the time you ask all of these questions. Some of them you discuss them. So that's why I say your advisor is your personal coach. Have some of this conversation. I tend to have a lot of these discussions with my students. Like, what really do you want to do? How can I support you? What are the things that can help you do? So have some of this discussion with your advisor, so that if there are opportunities, and you let him know if there are some opportunities of things that you think you know of that I don't know of, because you may not know, but they will know a lot of them. So they can point you in the right direction. But for you to balance all of this time in order to be able to drive your research at the same time, acquiring all these soft skills, you cannot abandon your technical skill, because that is the main reason why your advisor may have hired you and want you to do some research for them. So you have to do the research. But you got to now think about it that these things are called the soft skills, are things you add yourself. They are personal additions. So you got to now figure out, let's say, oh, how do I balance my time such that is why you need to learn to know how to say no to a lot of things, because some things, I call them distractions. They distract you. So if they are not adding to the vision, then you have to give yourself permission to say no to them. For instance, on the weekend, maybe you don't plan to be doing this, but at random somebody just say, hey, this is happening. Do you want to go to this party? Yeah, at that time, maybe that's not a party, but maybe you wanted to use that time just to learn something on writing a research grant. Just maybe a 1-hour series you want to watch. So it becomes how you prioritize your activity. So that's where prioritization becomes very, very important. That you know the things you want to do. Some of them, you know, you won't get them from the classroom. Some of them, you will not get them by going to the lab and run that experiment. There are additional things you want to learn. Is there some seminar happening on campus that you can attend on a specific topic? You are aware, you're constantly looking for those opportunities. And if the time favors you, you attend them. The key thing is, if you are not looking for something, even if you have all the time, you won't go and do them. So first of all, you must have the desire that this is what I want. And then ask yourself, do I have the time to do it? But if you don't even start with that mentality, then you have all the time, but you're not going to be using them judiciously. You won't use them prudently. So my key goal will be get to know what really you want to do. And then now you begin to prioritize. To say, okay, my advisor is aware of this. And you tell him, oh, there is this particular seminar happening on this particular topic. You know, I told you that I really love to gain some skills on this area. So maybe tomorrow I will not be in the lab from 9 to 10 o'clock because I'll be attending that seminar. Your advisor is aware about it. So he's not going to scold you when he comes to the lab and he doesn't find you. So you keep your advisor in conversation. You let him know why that is important to you, what you are going to gain from it, how it will help you either technically or professionally. So because his job is to support you to thrive, he's not going to say, hey, you cannot go. It's me who will encourage my students to do that. And that is why right from the beginning, especially your first year, your second year, if you are in the PhD or third year, that's why you do most of the hard work. By the time you are in your third year towards the fourth year, you might even want to ask your advisor, hey, is there an opportunity for an internship? Can you, because you're targeting the company. That's why sometimes you have to do internship as well. But these are things you have to discuss along the journey with your advisor. Who is your personal coach? Who is your guide? Because if he doesn't know your dream, if he doesn't know your vision, then he doesn't know how to support you. So make sure you have this conversation with your advisor often. And every time you have opportunity to chip them in and develop a very good relationship with them. And I think you'll be fine if you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestion on how to deal with micromanaging?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too tiring to deal with detailed things, but on the other side, you want best results as well. So.
Yeah. Micromanaging, sometimes, you know, some people need to be micromanaged, okay? It's not necessarily that micromanaging is always a negative thing. It stifles creativity from an individual. And if you are somebody who doesn't want your back washed all the time, then it becomes a nuisance to you. So yeah, there are some people who just need to be checked every time. But especially when you're doing your PhD, I don't normally encourage, because what happens is that you lose your creativity. There are two types of PhD students or grad students. There is one, you say, oh, go and do this. When they finish, they'll come back to you and say, oh, I've just finished what you asked me to do. What should I do next? So the advisor gives them another task. They go and they finish it and come back. What should I do next? No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be that, okay, you start a journey, you started doing that, you figure out some things, and you come to your advisor and say, oh, when I was doing this particular work, I was doing this reading, and I figured out this can also work. We have not looked at it, so I started testing this. So now it becomes a conversation between you and your advisor. He's not just managing you and directing you. You are also bringing to the table, because you're bringing to the research. So when a micromanaging is getting out of hand, so whether the person asking this question, how to manage it, it means that it's actually happening and it's completely getting out of hand, then you have the power to change it. There's a reason why your advisor is micromanaging you. If he doesn't think that you're going to do the right things yourself, if he doesn't think that you will show up at the time he wants you to be there, so he's going to tell you when to be there. But all of a sudden, you can change that narrative by just to say, oh, within the next 3 months, what can I do to really change my advisor's perception about me, to make him believe that I can even do this without him watching my back? So it means that you give him more than he asks you. It's an attitude. I remember when I was doing my PhD, and even when I finished my PhD and I went to the Netherlands to do my postdoc, my advisor was still in the UK and I was in the Netherlands, and I was in charge of everything myself. So I made it a habit that before he comes to the Netherlands, every month I'll give her a new scientific paper. So that constantly, I was in charge of everything. At a point, she just trusts me. She doesn't even ask me for anything. She doesn't even tell me what to do because she just believes that you are in control. So whenever you feel micromanaged, ask yourself a few questions. What is it that, why am I being micromanaged? Why is it that my back is always being washed? Is there something I can do to change the narrative? Can I give more than, so use a period of your time to change the narrative so that your advisor gets to the point. And all of a sudden, when you realize that he's liking it, then you can have a conversation with him and say, you know, some time ago, this was happening and I felt you were watching my back, you know, this was putting too much pressure on me. But, you know, right now, oh, I feel so good and I feel my creativity is all back. And then I know that I can do these things. So thank you for not watching my back constantly and trusting that I can do it. And then they now know that, oh, so when I was micromanaging, this is how you felt. But now I see the difference and it's helping you. Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Please feel free to open your microphone and then ask if you have any question or any comments.
Yeah, it can be comments. It can be on any subject. It can be anything. It's good to have discussions. We're just talking. I'm getting to know some of you for the first time. Some of you are hearing my voice for the first time.
I can ask a question before we
Okay.
I'm Moses Odebayo, and so Mike, it's like a comment that when you mentioned advisors and mentors, and then you mentioned that your advisor is your biggest mentor, and I just wanted to get your opinion in having mentors outside of your advisor. You know, maybe
Yeah.
you can rely on. Maybe you can just touch a little bit on that and
Yeah.
how that can help us, and maybe the flip side as well. You know, what kind of mentors we should also avoid, you know.
Yeah. I always say there's a mentor-mentee relationship, and these are very critical things that can break a relationship and destroy a lot of things. But just as I said, there are different kinds of mentors. So even at my stage, okay, I'm a professor now, but I still have mentors, okay? And those mentors are not in my department. Some of them are in mechanical engineering. Some are not even in the US. They are in the UK. They are in the Netherlands. They are in Germany. They are in China. They are in India. And each of them, I have a specific thing I ask them, like when I want to get clarification on something, and I go to them. So just as you come in grad school and you are learning and you have an advisor, your advisor is there primarily to teach you the technical skills or to help you to do your research and to succeed in it. But maybe there are a lot of other things that your advisor will not be able to teach you. Okay. So if he is not going to be able to teach you, that's when you find other mentors. Okay. So you might be there and you say, oh, you can even be in Colorado School of Mine, but your mentor is in Penn State because you can just connect. And therefore you have the person's number. You can just call it and talk about some specific aspect of life. Something is going on in your life. You just want a clarification on. So yes, nothing stops you from having multiple mentors. And you have to be very intentional about who you choose as a mentor, because there's something in the person that you like, you aspire to have, or you want to behave like. So those things drive you towards those people. So mentor-mentee relationships, something must gravitate the two of you. And therefore, when you find them, that's when you hold yet to them that you can do them. When it comes to the technical side of things, and you're choosing another person who is doing a similar research as your advisor, those ones, make sure you keep your advisor in the loop. Okay, so let's say you are doing some catalysis research, and then you find some other person in maybe another university doing some catalysis research, and you want to partner with them to do something. Don't just start that conversation without keeping your advisor in the loop, because that's a technical thing related to the research you are doing. So your advisor must be aware of it, because if you don't tell him and something goes wrong, he's going to be mad at you. Yeah. So make sure if it's on the technical side of things, turn it to the research, you can keep your advisor involved in the different engagement. But if there are other aspects of your life that maybe your advisor doesn't even care about, if he's not spiritual, he doesn't even think about prayer, and you believe in prayer, and you have an advisor that you can talk, a mentor that you can have those conversations with, he doesn't need to know about it. So you can call when you have those specific needs. You can talk about those things. But when it comes to the research, if you don't, the negative side will be, especially some students can even go and promise another partner that, oh, I saw your paper, we read it, and I think if you partner with us, we can have a joint publication. do not make any of those promises because you are not the PR. If you make that promise and your advisor find out, you are in big trouble.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, somebody raised his hand. Please.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a question in the chat which says that
Yeah.
I am a mechanical engineering student in Ghana,
Yeah.
and I have interest in doing my master's. Is this
Yeah.
same or more requiring to do something relating to engineering specifically, or to do something that's not very technical or engineering based, but also have interest in?
Yeah, I always say that your first degree just is a pedestal to step into the things you really want to do in life. So nobody will believe that today I'm a material scientist. So if you read my bio, you realize that my first degree was in applied statistics, okay? Everybody would have thought I've gone, that's my initial dream as a young person, wanted to go into financial modeling, financial engineering, go into the stock market, and be using statistics to do all of those things. But life happens and your interests change, your passions change. And here I am in engineering and doing a lot of material science research. So it's just going to boil down to, I always bring it that, what really do you want to do? Yeah, mechanical engineering degree gives you a very strong background. You have the engineering discipline, you have a strong mathematics background, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to do a master's again in mechanical engineering. You can just pick another discipline that can still contribute. You can still apply the knowledge you have from your first degree to do those things. But it has to be something driving you towards what really you desire to be. What really do you want to contribute to? And don't just do the course because everybody thinks it's popular. You got to look at it and say, is this something I want to do that I feel I can make an impact? I can contribute to that discipline and that field. And therefore, whether it's going to be engineering or whether it's going to be soft skill, the key thing you have to know is it has to be something that you desire, that you feel you would do very well at, and you can make major impact if you go into it. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any question or comment? Maybe we can have two more.
So if I understand the dynamics of your group, there are majority of you PhD students. How is the dynamics of your group there in Colorado?
Yeah, I think majority of us are PhD students.
Okay.
Few masters and also like few undergrad.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. If there's no question, I would want to ask the last one. So how do you handle sometimes the competition, because you see your friends publishing?
Yes.
And you think you are not publishing or your research is not going well. So
Yeah.
how do you handle that situation?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a very good question, and it's also something that you don't need to, because we all have different journey. Okay, there are some disciplines it's easier to publish, and there are some disciplines they are very difficult to publish. Okay, so you have to know you are all not in the same boat. So some people may be in medicine, maybe somebody in their discipline, they just need only one paper. That one paper speaks even bigger than your 5 papers. So let's say you are doing some high quality work and you publish a Nature Energy publication. Let's say you're in material science and you publish a Nature Energy publication, an impact factor over 60. And then another person just maybe hurriedly published in MPDI or some of the predatory journals and just had 4 publications. Don't worry. When the time comes, you will know why your 60 impact will swallow all the 4 of them. So it's not the competition shouldn't force you to start doing shoddy work or start trying to just become a public paper machine. Just trying to, quality should always proceed over quantity. So that's the key thing I would say. And if you feel that your colleagues, you know some PhD student and he's doing so well, you know they publish very good papers, and you feel that there's something stagnating in some reason, maybe you are not publishing, something is not going well. Why not? The reason why I say don't compete with them, just walk to them and ask a conversation. Say, I'm in this discipline. I see that you're doing very, very well. Can you just talk to me like how things are going with you? Is it because you have a good advisor? Is it because of something you are doing that maybe I'm not doing? Ask questions. Then the person can share some of these experiences with you and you learn from them. So instead of being jealous of them or feeling mediocre about them, walk to them. Our biggest problem is when we start to compare ourselves with other people. Envy kicks in and we feel like, no. It's something we need to work ourselves against that. His success does not change anything about me. And if you're also successful, they will celebrate you. So the key thing will be to rather learn from them. I see a lot of people do that. I happen to sometimes publish a lot of papers. Okay, I don't have a problem with publication, but then there are some people who will look at that and so he publishes and I'm not publishing. And then my question will be to you is, if you need that, just come. Let's talk about it. Like, what are you doing currently that maybe your papers are being rejected all the time? Sometimes maybe it's just something you need to just change, and then the papers will get accepted. So have those conversations with the people who are succeeding. Instead of staying far behind and be jealous in them, get closer to them and ask them questions, and I think you'll be fine.
Okay. Any last question from the audience? Okay. In the absence of any question or comment, I would want to take this opportunity to thank you so much. I know it's 7:40 p.m. Pennsylvania time. And
yes.
Thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us despite the time difference.
Yeah.
It's very grateful that you accepted our invitation and you really worked with us very back and forth. So the entire executive members are very appreciative of your time and effort and the insights that you have shared with us. So, and to our listeners, thank you so much for joining. I know some people joined from other countries outside of the US or other cities outside of the US. Thank you so much. Regardless of the time difference, you stayed to listen to this insightful presentation. So thank you so much. The announcement that we have is that this session was recorded, so we are going to share the recording with you all. And the speaker has also agreed to share the slides. So when I get the slides, I would also share with the audience as well. So on this note, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And if you have your last words for us, you would really take it.
Oh yeah, I think my last word for each and every one of us is let's keep the momentum going. Let's hold each other's hand as we go on this journey. Anybody on the call who is now aspiring to go into grad school, I will always be available as much as I can. Just shoot me an email. We can have conversations about how we proceed and work this through together. One of my last, especially those who are aspiring, don't just go to a university. Remember, you're going to a professor. So do your homework. Don't just go and Google and be searching for universities. You can go to MIT and still fail because you went to the wrong advisor. So make sure you make those your homework when you're looking for schools. Don't just look at the rankings. Look for them. They're good. It's good to be in good university, but even better is who are you going to? So do some homework on them, read their papers, go to their website, check what they're doing, check some of their students. Are they thriving? Are they really succeeding? Are they publishing? If you check a professor's profile and in the last 5 years, he didn't publish anything, his students are not doing anything, it looks like the group is stagnated. Don't think that you will go and change the narrative. You might go and join the same queue. So learn all of these things even before you put yourself into them. So ask questions. And if you have anybody in that university already that you know, send them an email like, I was considering this person. What do you think? And if you do all of those things, then you've done your homework. Then you'll be blessed to join a very good person who will become your personal mentor and coach, and they guide you through life to succeed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nelson. And above all, rise above your challenges. So
rise above them. Rise above them.
So,
channel the spirit of the eagle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nelson. And I'll stop recording.
Yeah.